Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I have the opportunity to work on, well, to me it's a treat. It's a older reel. This is the Shakespeare 1905 Duece. The reel was not made in 1905. The reel was manufactured in 1940. It has a date code of GA. And those of you that know or have watched my channel know that Shakespeare did have a dating code. It was alpha. And corresponding numerics told you what year it was made, and those appeared as the model numbers. 1940, the reel is still running nicely. It has some tarnish on it. We're going to clean all of that up, and we're going to make sure that the reel continues to run for a long time to come. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that, and while I start taking off the external parts, I want to recommend that if you like the art of reel repair, if you like to see how fishing reels are made, and well, how they are serviced and kept fishing. That's kind of the whole idea behind Second Chance Tackle, and I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button. That notification button will let you know when I'm posting my videos, and well, you can make a determination as to whether you want to watch that video or maybe it's one that doesn't appeal to you, but you want to see the next one. Alright, well, we took the handle off by removing that nut cap, and now we'll just clean that up, because a lot of what you do when you're servicing a reel, regardless of the age, and in this case this reel's almost 75 years old, but if it's 5 years old, doesn't matter. You want to clean your pieces and parts, you want to inspect them for damage, and well, you want to keep them oiled and greased so that they run nice and smooth. Well, we've just removed the handle, and there's only 2 screws, and unfortunately one of the screws is broken on this one, but that's okay. The other screw should be holding that side plate in. And I think we're going to need to go to a micro screwdriver for that. It's a very small screw head, and it's a flat blade. And I keep a lot of these various tool sets close at hand so that, well, I can grab them when needed and I don't have to put my project down. Well, before we go much further, I want to recommend to you that you take pictures as you would disassemble a reel, particularly a reel that you haven't seen yet, and I haven't seen this reel, because you want to make sure you know the orientations of the pieces and parts, and well, when you take them off, you want to know the order that you took them off, and well, where you took them off from. So pictures at critical junctions help. So we'll remove the cap now, and while this is a standard setup for a Shakespeare reel of the time, you have a gear that is mounted on the spool, you have a gear that drives the worm, you have the worm gear and the line guide and the pawl, and well, it's a relatively small amount of pieces and parts that you need to pay attention to, but that doesn't mean that they need any less attention being paid to them. So we're going to clean up all that grease and dirt there. Now, I'm not going to use a very abrasive manner to do this. I'm going to use penetrating oil and a kitchen scrubby or a paper towel or whatever it is. The penetrating oil I use just to dissolve the grease. The kitchen scrubby normally provides enough abrasion just to knock off whatever the issues may be. And well, there's a patina. You don't necessarily want to go and ruin the patina. Now this reel would be marginalized. I'm looking here. I'm not even sure that's a screw. It should be a screw, but I think if it's broken off a long time ago. Yeah, I'm certain that screw is broken off. But so from a collectability standpoint, it is marginalized because the screw is broken off. And personally, I like to just keep these things running. Again, this has seen a lot of history. Think about this one. It was before the U.S. entered World War II that this was manufactured. So I can imagine that, well, there's just a whole lot of things that this is fished through historically and otherwise, and it's always kind of nice to think about that when you think about the age of a reel. All right, I'm now using the paper towel, and the other thing that I use, and it's great in tight spots like this, I use a cotton swab to just get the pieces that are just tucked in there and a little bit harder to get at. You want to clean the reels because you don't want the grease and the dirts and that to fall inside and contaminate it, and worse yet, get caught in the gearing and the like, become abrasive and wear down those gears. I just talked to a fellow that going to send me some reels. He said, well, he's been trolling with those reels, and they're really beat up. And a lot of time, the beat up on a trolling reel, well, it's because the reel itself is exposed to a lot of micro sands and salts and the like, and a lot of times it's just the types of fish. Sometimes the reel is underserved for the size fish that they're going for. At any rate, the point is that the reel itself needs service, and the reels by themselves take a lot of abuse, if you will. All right, this should come out now, and one of the things I'm noticing here is it's very tight, which is not unusual. It's probably been quite some time since this reel has been serviced, and a lot of times the dirts and greases and the like just, well, they accumulate, and then when they dry out, and that happens all the times with these old reels because, well, folks usually sit them on a shelf or something, but at any rate, they get tight, and when they get tight, you have to clean them up, put them back together. There you go. So we have a lot of dirt and grease all over the rim, and you can see the back end of this reel right here has got all the dried grease on it, and that is dried. Well, the dried grease is acting as a glue, and that glue is kind of holding the performance of the reel back. Now, that, as I mentioned, the penetrating oil will very easily take care to loosen most of that up. Sometimes you're going to need more than one application, but if you do it, you'll get it all out, and you'll be surprised how free and easy it spins, even after all those years, when the pieces and parts are cleaned. We have an internal section here. You saw me, I had to struggle a little bit getting that arbor out. Well, I'm going to hit that with some penetrating oil as well, and we'll use that cotton swab again. We're going to run that right through to pick up any of the dirt that may have accumulated inside there and dried. This is the arbor itself. Let's clean that up. And that should spin free and easy now. This is your main gear. You're going to notice it has two gears on it. It has an inner gear and an outer gear. This is going to drive the spool. This is going to drive the line guide. Well, one more time. This is like on the Jersey Shore show, Jim Tan Laundry. It's kind of the same idea. It's a two-gear set. I thought it might have been integral to be a one-gear set, but that's okay. Clean it up. Inspect the pieces and parts. Remember, we saw this one on the back had all of that dried grease on the case, so this would have been the side that was on the case. And then check the teeth. Make sure that they're uniform and they're clean. If they're not clean, if they're stuck with some old greases in it, get a hard brush. You can use a toothbrush or any of these dollar store brushes. This one I think might have been Home Depot's brush version. But regardless, just make sure that you clean them up. And then what we can do here is we can reinstall the arbors and the pieces. And as I mentioned, I fully expect that this will spin nice and easy with some fresh lubrication. So let's do that. A little bit of grease onto the inner gear, which is going to intersect with the spool gear or the pinion gear. A little bit on the outer side, which is going to work the worm gear. Let's put that in and see if we made a difference here in terms of spinning. Well, the arbor came free of the centering hole there, so probably need to just take that out again and reset. One of the things you want to make sure you're doing, just be patient. Sometimes things don't go all the way you think that they should when you're working on a reel. So just take your time, be patient, and it will pay off. All right, I put the handle back on so that that main gear doesn't slide away. And we'll just go over and we'll service the balance of the reel. There's not much to these reels, and I think that's kind of a statement to be made on almost all fishing reels. Regardless of how complex they are, it's just not going to take, a day or a month or a year to service these things. And service shouldn't be postponed just because you don't think you have the time for it. It's much better to take the time, service the reel, and not worry that you're going to lose a fish because, well, a part is going to fail, or line's going to break because you didn't replace the line, or whatever it is. Just take a moment before your season starts and do your best to get it serviced. A reel like this, it's maybe 15 minutes to service it. So just take your time, get it done, and go worry-free for the season. All right, a little bit of grease onto the back axle shaft. We can install that now that we cleaned the case. We have a gear that's a part of the spool. And this is amazing mechanical engineering. Think about this. This reel is 75 years old. And, well, it's pretty much stood the test of time. All right, we're going to install the drive for your worm gear. There's one flat spot. You just got to sort of rotate the gear until you're on it. There we go. A little bit of grease onto that. And I'm going to put that case side on before I service the pole, just because I don't want to bounce around with that. Okay, I think I have to. There we go. The one screw that's remaining can go here. Kind of hard to mess that one up because the other one's broken in its slot, so you can't do anything with that one. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to remove the pawl cover. So bring that over to the side. There's a screw that's holding the pawl cover on. Again, you're going to need a micro driver for this. And here's where you need to be careful, because if you drop these parts and can't find them, well, you're out of luck. Nobody's selling these parts today. You want to remove your pawl. That comes out of the cap. It's got the bigger hole when you go to reinstall that cap. You want to clean that up, just like we did the other pieces and parts. And pay particular attention when you do this to the shoulders on the pawl. You can see that I'm picking grease out of there. And that grease is what was in the tracks of the worm gear. If you don't put that, if you don't pick it out, it's going to perform poorly. Take your pawl and you can reinstall that now. Just put it in the hole there. Hold it, and then turn your reel until you feel that pawl pull down. The top part of that should be flush with that case. And now we can take the cover case, put that on. And I've been living dangerously here. That screw has been on my driver here, and very easy to have it knock off. And well, if it knocks off again, just like we were saying about the pawl, you lose that part, you're pretty much out of luck. Okay, so there we go. We've done everything but oil the worm gear. Now if that worm gear was dirty, this one is not dirty at all, but if you saw dirt and grease and grime and junk in those tracks, take the worm gear out. It would just flow out the way we did it with that gear there. There's a little clip holding it on, and clean it off. All right, so Well, I think I just have to tighten this up a little bit more, the handle. There we go. We had a little bit of a rock going on in the handle. Well, that's it. So what did it take? A few minutes, right? The Shakespeare Duece, 1905. Look at the performance. Now, if you wanted to cast this thing a mile, well, we have a spool adjuster here. You back that off just a little bit, and you'll see how much quicker the spool and everything turns. So these reels were originally lined with braid, and braid has made a comeback, of course, but they went from braid to monofilament and now back to a kind of a high-tech braid, if you will. The original was linen or Dacron braid. This one's just working beautifully. It's a shame about that screw. That one screw is broken off there. But that's, I guess, life. I guess you could solve this if you find a donor reel that has a reel seat like this. You could find the one that has the hole clear so that you could use a spool. But that's it. That's our Shakespeare 1905 Duece, model GA, made in 1940. And wow, what a pleasure. I'm going to put this on a rod. I'm going to add some line. I'm going to take it fishing and see how it performs. Well, speak about performance. I'm always thanking our first responders. That include our police, fire, rescue, and the like, those dedicating their lives to public safety. I truly appreciate your efforts. And to everybody, well, this is the time to take care of the reels. We're almost on fishing season. Actually, I just grabbed one that I use personally. It's a Shimano Syncopate 1000. It's a pond reel, has fast cast, and well, you can see it's been used over the course of last season. I've taken the line off of that. I'm getting ready to clean it up, do the same thing we did with this one, and well, get it out there and doing my pond fishing. So I hope you've all taken notes, getting ready to do your reels, and have a great day. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.